It's always a bit cringy to start a video, but I figured if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. And it's one of those things where you set some goal in your mind and then you start to kind of analyze and think about how the conversation would go in your head. And instead of actually recording the conversation, you end up having a whole fledged conversation with some really good points, and you end up in a at the top of the decision tree after you've made the decision. You ask yourself the yes no question. If yes, then go up this branch. If no, go down to this other one. And at some point, you're just gonna have to fucking start somewhere. You're gonna have to do something about it. You're gonna have to get off your ass. You're gonna have to make a decision. You're going to have to take action, because if not, you're always going to be at the bottom of the tree. And if it's the view that you're looking for, you're not going to get the best view because you can't see everything, because you didn't climb up the trunk, because you didn't climb up the branch, because you didn't get to the top. Anyways, point being is that it always takes a little bit of time to find the motivation, the courage to step out of whatever fucking box that you put yourself in, to really get out there in the world and do things that scare you. This is scary. I've never done this before, and you're kind of putting yourself out there on a limb, and it might be windy that day, and you might fall off the fucking tree. You might tear a ligament, you might break a bone, you might sprain yourself, but that's the risk, right, that you take in doing these things. All to say is that the reason why I was so interested in recording this is because I feel like when you talk out loud, your mind starts to map things out in a way that are more clear. And oftentimes it's difficult to just have a conversation with yourself because you're not able to track back on that conversation. You might remember what it is that you thought about, but for me, I find that when I have like those light bulb moments where there's like the light bulb and you're like, oh, oftentimes I forget what the light bulb was even about or why I was even thinking about what I was thinking about. And oftentimes I have those thoughts when I'm in the car or when I'm working, and my mind should be on work items, but unfortunately, because I'm having this like existential birth in my mind of a thought, that it just wanders off to somewhere else. So for example, today I was thinking about kind of digging deeper into one's own personality and frame of mind and how you think. And I said, wouldn't it be crazy if you just wrote a book about X thing that you wanted to do? Like, let's say, for example, you've had this dream that you've been wanting to climb Mount Everest, or you've been wanting to go bungee jumping or skydiving. And those are extreme things. I don't think I would ever do any of those things because I value my life, and that's not to say that people who do those things don't value their lives. For me, I look at the risk versus the reward, and for me, I don't find it rewarding engaging in extreme sports like skydiving. Like, I wouldn't ever think about jumping out of a plane, and I know other people do, and if that's your thing, good for you. I'm proud of you. You are fucking awesome. Me, I'd rather be lame. I'd rather be on the ground. I am afraid of heights, and I'm okay with living with that. I'm not missing out on anything, I don't think. For you, I'm so happy that you got to experience it. I'm not in the least bit jealous of you. I love that for you, boo. You do you. We're going to do us over here. But back to my point in being is, I thought, what if there was something you were really scared of doing, and instead of doing the thing, you wrote a story about yourself actually doing it? And I thought, then you start to create this narrative in your mind of action that you've taken, action that you on how you would actually pursue each of those steps. So for example, if it was skydiving, maybe you're like this like cool character and you go out and you buy all of these things, and one of the plot in the plot you go to a class, and in this class you meet all of these other people who are also in the same boat as you, and you realize that not only do you have a lot of things in common, but you're also touching each other based on this fear that you have of doing this thing, but also this excitement of being able to share this experience with other people who are like-minded. And I think ultimately at the end of this story, what I would find is the connection to the thing, whatever that thing was for me, because ultimately when I think about doing something, it always has some tied benefit or backstory to it. It's because I want to accomplish something. It's because I want to connect. It's because of X thing. It's not really necessarily about even doing the thing that you want to do. It's about either the feeling, the emotion, overcoming of whatever thing it is that you want to overcome. That's what it is more for me. And I don't know if that's what it's like for other people, but maybe for this person, skydiving was to get over the fear of doing things that scare you, doing things that are out of the norm, doing things that are a little bit different, and just pushing yourself and putting yourself out there, knowing that, hey, I might, one, I might suck at this, two, I might fall out of a plane and oopsies, I died, but also if you land, you did it. You're one of the very many that are going to land safely on land. And if you don't, you don't. It's about taking those risks. And I think oftentimes we get so caught up in the narrative in our head that we don't do anything. But I think by writing it down, by creating a story behind it, you create this narrative in your mind of some sort of action, because you're actually taking a step towards doing it. And it could be a way for you to start planning XYZ thing. It could be a way of like, hey, my mind just came up with a whole story on how I can get this done. You already have that first step written. Even if it's just a list and you don't actually write the story down, you could put the list, you could make this freaking list, go on to Chat GPT, type it, and then have Chat GPT create the story for you. I mean, there's so many ways that you could do anything that it's possible. And I think for me, the story that I've been telling myself is I'm going to start this thing. I want to do a podcast. I want to do so many things. And the thing that always sets me back is I don't have the time. I don't have the creativity. I don't have um, the persona, the personality. I don't have, the list goes on and on and on and on of what it is that I'm deficient in. And ultimately, it just results in being, God damn, I'm not good at anything. And that's not true. That narrative is not true, because I feel that there are a lot of things that I'm good at. And maybe one of them is not necessarily doing a podcast, but there are millions of podcasts, thousands and thousands and thousands of hours recorded of people just talking about different things that I'm like, wow, that's a podcast. I'm not learning anything from this. That's not to say that the podcast isn't funny, it isn't entertaining, it isn't X, Y, and Z. I'm not saying those things. But if I'm saying like, damn, if that person can do it and they're, you know, a jackass moment type podcast where they're doing and saying things that are silly and ridiculous, like I could do it too. And you can too. You can do it too. And I feel that oftentimes we get lost in, captured in the moment of just scrolling and saying, ooh, that looks like a good idea. One day I'm going to do it. And I don't want to live my life and look back and say, wow, I spent a lot of time thinking about things that I could have done. I want I want to be in action. I want to explore. I want to be engaged. I want to feel like there's a sense of purpose in my life. And I'm sure hundreds and thousands of other people feel the same way. And it's really you just got to push play. And that's the reality. You got to start somewhere. And whether you're using a fake screen like I'm using and the microphone's behind me when the microphone should be in front of me, I'm not an expert. I don't care. I think, at some point in age, you get to the point where you're like, I just don't care anymore. I don't care what anybody's opinions are anymore. If you want to be in my life because of the person that I am, that's awesome. If you don't, like, sis, have a good day. Live your life. Do what you want to do. I just know that for me, I've spent a lot of time trying to find out who I am and where I'm going. And it's okay if people don't come along with you on that journey. It's okay if you have people who only show up for a few days, a few months, a few years in your life. And I feel like I've had many, many, many different friends throughout my life. And I mourned the loss of having certain friendships not last in my life. And I think that it's okay. Like, we'll see each other someday in the future or not at all. And we might see each other's posts on social media. And I think that whatever you're doing is great and awesome for you. And that's that. But just wanted to hop on and just kind of share my thoughts about what I was feeling and thinking, because oftentimes my brain just spits this thing out, vomits this thing, and that's that. Peace.